Hello and welcome to today's YouTube video. Today we're going over my third and final game of my tournament that I played on Monday, and I have the white pieces. Now, before we get started, let me just say I left this game the angriest I've ever left from a chess game. But it may not seem like that for the first bit, since honestly I played like a masterpiece of a middle game, and I should have won this game like 100%. I would be 1800 USCF if I just won this game, but it was a really sad result, and I screwed it up royally many different times. Unfortunately, I don't have them recorded on notation since most of the mistakes happened when we were both under a minute. But yeah, d4, and my opponent chose b6, and I try and play like a Jabava system. But obviously this isn't a Jabab London, this is English defense as black. But yeah, I'm still playing a system here, and nothing too spectacular in the opening. Yeah, just developing normally, and c5, yeah, and then castle. And after h6, this is where it starts to get interesting, because I play knight to b5. Now, what's the threat here? Well, I am threatening knight c7, trapping the rook, but I'm also threatening knight to d6, which is just an absolute monster of a knight in the black position, which is why my opponent played d6. Now, why is this a blunder? It looks like a completely normal move. It looks like that's what solves black's problem of this knight. Well, the reason is because after d takes c5, he can't take with the pawn because of the same reason as before, trapping the rook. So that's why he has to take with the b pawn. So that's already quite nice. He has this kind of ugly structure, but there is a very strong tactic in this position with knight takes d6. Now, I get it. It looks like a blunder, but trust me, it works. I calculated this for a couple minutes. But yeah, essentially he can't take because take. If queen takes, then I just absolutely sauce him and he loses. So yeah, that's why he can't take. So if you look closely, there is actually 3 attackers of this square, and there's only 2 defenders if you look closely. So yeah, that's why knight takes d6 works. So yeah, my opponent plays a bishop d5, and I simply retreat my knight since he cut off my queen with bishop to d5, and he develops with knight c6, and I simply play a3, because essentially my reasoning in this position is if black doesn't have knight b4, what is black's plan? Like, what is he going to do? There's no like good plan for black here, in my opinion. Yeah, you have to play some really strange stuff like knight to a5. I mean, whew. Yeah, bishop takes, queen b6, and I made a slight inaccuracy here. I should have definitely played rook b1. I was even like that right after the game. I should just play rook b1 because it makes black's position just harder to play and gets rid of his plan. But I play b3. The reason this is inaccurate is because of the c3 square, and this may look completely like pointless, but it actually cost me a decent amount of problems. Yeah, rook to d8, and I made like another mistake with queen e2. I was contemplating queen e1 because here comes black's idea, knight e4, and he wants to put his knight on c3, so that's why I was contemplating queen e1, which I should have done, to be honest, because I can't put a rook on d1 because that's a fork on this square. Can I draw arrows? There we go. But yeah, queen e2 is a mistake again because once his knight gets here, it hits my queen. So yeah, knight e4, bishop to d3. I want to cut off the rook real quick, and opponent plays knight c3, and I simply play queen e1 anyways. And my opponent plays bishop f6, but this is a mistake, as you can see, because it allows e4. This is what I mean by middle game masterpiece. Like, I'm playing this pretty well. Of course, b3 inaccuracy, queen e2 inaccuracy. I get it. But the major moves that I've found are like legitimately really good. Knight to d4. This just blunders in my opinion, because I can just go e5. Yeah. If you may notice here, 2 pieces are hanging. It's just how it is. Knight takes f3, g takes f3. And guess what? 2 pieces are still hanging. So bishop drops back to e7, and I take the knight. I'm up a piece and a pawn. How can I possibly lose this game? In what world can I possibly lose this game? Oh, not that. Sorry. Let me. Yeah. C3. In what world can I possibly lose this game? Rook d4. Bishop g3. f5. And this is where my notation ends, so I'm kind of going off memory here. So it's probably not completely accurate, but I think it's accurate. I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, this is the end of the official notation. And I play king h1, trying to put my rook on the g file. Opponent plays f4, bishop back to h2, queen c6, attacking my f3 pawn with big threat. I play bishop c4, attacking weakness and opening up my queen's vision to the f3 pawn. Opponent plays rook f5. I play rook g1. Opponent plays bishop h4. I play rook g2. Takes pawn. Rook ag1 and g5. And I play terrible move. Rook g4. Bishop takes f2 and rook f1. Bishop to e3, and I play queen e1. I want to go to h4. This is a fine move, but my opponent just moves his king, and I go all the way to a5, attacking the pawn on e7. This is still defended, so don't worry about that. And yeah, I forget how this went actually. Completely forgot how this goes from here, but he allowed me to take the pawn. But I completely forget what black did here, which is why I don't have any notation. Yeah, it was very, very poor gameplay from here on out. Essentially, my opponent blundered checkmate. I didn't see it. He blundered checkmate and won. I simply didn't see it. Yeah, essentially, the second to last position looked like this. Now, some of you will be like, okay, it's opposite colored bishops. It should just be a dead draw, right? And also, you may be asking, bro, what happened to your piece? Didn't you have an extra piece? Yeah, I hallucinated and took a pawn, and he defended it, so I lost the piece like that. Yeah, you want to know what I played in this position? The only move that loses. I literally played the worst move in the position. I was in time trouble, but absolutely unforgivable. King d5. Cutting off the circulation of my bishop. And I resigned. I shook hands with my opponent and I literally stormed out of the room. First time I've ever done that. I was very upset. Very, very upsetting. Of course, my opponent was good, but absolutely unforgivable for me to lose a game up a piece and up a pawn and blundering into a loss so simply. Man, this was very upsetting to lose like this. Accuracies on the main part. I'd actually have 79 and my opponent had an accuracy of 74.7. Estimated rating, I had an estimated rating of 2050 and my opponent had an estimated rating of 2000. Oh man, this was a rough game. Like, I played the opening and middle game so well, and I simply just threw it away. Like, I just threw it away. There's nothing else to explain there. I mean, it's something that's almost impossible to like train with. Like, how are you going to train with one move blunders? And it's just impossible to train. I mean, obviously I should never cut off my bishop from the pawns. Yeah, absolutely unforgivable. But yeah, that was the angriest I've ever left a chess game, and I think you can understandably see why. But yeah, that does it for today's YouTube video. I hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to leave a comment down below, like and subscribe, and as always, I will see you in tomorrow's video.